The Monster Hunter series is known for how versatile its gameplay is, with its vast amount of weapon selections. With the release of its latest installment, Monster Hunter Rise, a new usable item was added to the game. Unlike the 14 in-game weapons, the kunai isn't something you equip, but rather an item you always have available in your inventory. It has unlimited uses and can be used airborne, but it doesn't really do great damage, and the way it's thrown is clunky at best. It can break parts and cut tails though, which is neat. So the question I'm posing in this video is, can you beat Monster Hunter Rise while only using the kunai? I'm here to become a Shinobi Ninja Warrior Monster Slayer Master. To find out, baby. So the challenge itself is going to be kunai damage only. No outside damage from palamutes or palicos. Bye bye pets. They'll be unequipped for the entirety of the run. No bomb damage or mounting damage. To the best of my ability, I can't control monster AI, so it can be unavoidable when they end up fighting each other. Flash bombs and traps are allowed, however, that being said, I use it sparingly for this run and end up mostly killing rather than capturing. So let's dive into the setup. The kunai alone does about maximum 5 damage, assuming you hit the best hit zone possible on a monster with no sleep damage multiplier. There's a dango you can eat that increases kunai damage. This is, as far as I know, the only damage modifier for these bad boys, at least within the village. It's not too substantial of a buff, it makes the max hit be about 6 damage. I was checking armor sets, and it seems that, at least concerning the village armor sets, there are none that give you additional damage to the kunais. As of this video, the game is brand new, so I don't have the access to all the info regarding the armor sets in the game, but to put it simply, the only damage modifier I have is the dango. No armor skills that I wear in this run will make me do any more damage with the kunai. So let's get started with our first fight, the Great Izuchi. The first thing I noticed was how hard it was getting accustomed to the way the kunais get thrown. I quickly find out that when a monster is standing still, it is extremely satisfying to chuck kunais at him like I'm Link throwing letters into mailboxes in Dragon Roost Island. But back to how it gets thrown, it is very easy to whiff these kunai because you think it's gonna go somewhere it's not. Izuchi's little goons definitely are annoying for this, I will say. They tend to get in my way and knock me down, so killing them off first is definitely worthwhile. I'm also quickly realizing that facing a fast enemy with the kunai is not a good time. On Izuchi, we get about 6 damage done on its weak zone, which is its head, and usually hitting for 3 on the other parts. At this early point of the game, this is actually pretty decent DPS. After what feels like a million kunai, the Izuchi gets taken down. My dumbass was hiding the timer with my face cam, but it ended up taking about 18 minutes to take down the Izuchi. Considering I was just getting used to the kunai, this was faster than I expected. So let's move on to the next fight. I ditched the face cam here so we can see all the info. On the Arzuros, this fight ends up being the fastest fight in the whole run. This fat ass is so goddamn slow that it allows me to throw these kunai like I'm Sasuke trying to avenge my goddamn entire clan here. It was incredibly satisfying and quite therapeutic after that Izuchi fight. I've adopted a technique where I run and gun with the kunai. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's a slightly faster animation. Testing needs to be done. Anyways, we destroyed the Arzuros in under 15 minutes. No more honey for him, unfortunately. Goodbye, little bear. Before we get into the next fight, I'd just like to say, if you're enjoying the content, feel free to hit the subscribe button. It lets me know this is the type of content you'd like to see more of, and it's free. You can also catch me doing these challenges live on my Twitch channel on twitch.tv/flyann. Back to the video. So I desperately try to see if there are any armor skills with some type of kunai boost between these fights, since this is my first playthrough of Monster Hunter Rise. But no luck. You might be asking why I decided to use kunai only instead of just enjoying my first playthrough of the game. I got nothing for you. So now it's on to our very first urgent quest, the Aknosom. This fight was very interesting and our first real challenge. His hitbox is very narrow for the kunais to hit, so angling it correctly was tough. Also, this dude's fireballs are so insanely annoying to maneuver around while yossing these kunais. Also, this guy loves staying in an area for 30 seconds and leaving to the other side of the map. This really kills a lot of time and creates a lot of downtime for my DPS. And not having my palamutes makes traveling a bit slower. Thankfully, wirebug spamming isn't too shabby for speed. When monsters are drooling, it's my best opportunity to get some damage in. The highest damage I can do is about 5 damage per kunai on its head. Later on in the fight, I learned to adapt and chase him with kunais, trying not to miss opportunities for damage, considering how slippery this guy is. I try to go for the legs to get a trip and do as much damage as I can, but I slowly realize this fight is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. I end up carding, which sucks ass, but I came back for some revenge. We get a part break, which is great. Akno goes to bed, and I was curious to see how much damage we do with the sleep damage multiplier. It ended up being 9 damage. Insane. Finally, I conquered the beast. It took 43 minutes and 14 seconds. This really made me worried for the fights ahead, but I just said to myself, alright, play better and we should be okay. Now that we're in 3-star village, on to the next fight with Royal Ludrith. I love this spongy lion man. I fought him many times before in 3rd gen, so this was a much more comfortable fight for me. The fight starts with him seeing the determination in my eyes and fleeing swiftly, as he should. At this point, I'm very curious on whether or not the kunai cuts the tail, so that's my main focus for the beginning of the fight. That being said, the highest damage we can do on him before and after part breaks is 3 damage. This was a little concerning considering the 43-minute Aknosom fight we could do 5 damage. But I soldier on. The tail was the goal. After about 10 minutes, we get it down. The tail gets chopped off. See ya! I figured kunai did cutting damage because, well, it's a kunai, but it's cool to see some confirmation. I'm a hammer main, so when I play this game normally like a real human being, it's cool to know I can still nab a tail with this thing. Ludrith stops to take a big sip, which was a great opportunity for damage. Ow. Finally, Ludrith goes down, a lot faster than Akno at about 32 minutes and 34 seconds. Definitely gave me more confidence after that previous fight. Something I didn't mention is that the kunai dango doesn't have a 100% success rate of activating. So I pray to my lucky stars that I would get it every mealtime. If I didn't, I'd have to reset by doing gathering quests or something. Not sure what the most optimal way was. Next on our hit list was the Great Rogi. Very confident in this fight, and just as I predicted, it went very similar to the Great Izuchi. Its head got hit for 6 damage, just like its predecessor, so it went pretty smooth. The goons were annoying, but what's new? And bam! The Rogi is done. Turning him into some cowboy armor for sure. Yeehaw! Killed him around the same time it took Izuchi, which was good. Speaking of armor, I just made whatever had good defense, maybe some stamina skills, whatever kept me alive during these fights was good enough. The one rampage we were forced to do in the story had to be done normally. It's not really a traditional hunt at all, so not a big deal. Next fight, Baroth. Not gonna lie, I was scared of how much damage we'd do to him. I could do about 4 damage on his hands, not bad. Feeling a lot more confident with the kunais at this point, so it was a fairly straightforward fight. After getting the mud out of my boots, we took him down in under 25 minutes. Next fight is Kula Yaku, and this fight was quite annoying. He loves jumping around like a goddamn wonky-eyed kangaroo. I could do about 5 damage to his arms with the kunai, but the items he'd pick up would always get in the way. As I mentioned before, the faster enemies are more annoying to fight, and this guy is no exception. After some perseverance, though, I get him down at about 20 minutes. Time for our next urgent quest, where we fight the monkey. This was the first time I took advantage of the aerial kunai throws, and it knocked this fruit-loving freak to the ground. I could do some juicy 5 damage hits to his head. This dude was definitely swagging on me, but I ain't no kunai chump no more. His tail takes 5 damage as well, which was super sick. I knocked the fruit out of his hands, man. It's over for him. At 29 minutes, he's down. And now we're at the next star in the village. Next up, Volvidon. He has a pretty tough hide. The highest damage I can do to him is 4. His flatulence gives me a great opportunity to damage from long range. Nice. We break his parts pretty easily, but I end up carting. It took a long time to get back to him, and his tougher hide made this a much longer fight than I expected at about 35 minutes. Now onto a scary one, Rathian. I'm pretty comfortable with this fight, but I'm coming into this one anxious that I can't do enough damage. But thankfully, seeing the 5 damage marker on its head was a big relief. I used flash bombs for the first time this fight. I had a couple from the supply box at the beginning. Good damage from that. Her backflips gave me great opportunities for aerial kunai damage, which was nice. Some shinobi stuff, no big deal. I tried to aim for some trips so I could wail on her head, and I think it was a good strategy. Not gonna lie, she liked running, but it wasn't gonna stop me from winning. Got the W under 30 minutes, baby. Next fight, Somnicanth. First time fighting this beauty, and I didn't know what to expect. Surprisingly not too bad of a fight. Its tail would get hit for 5 damage, and it would expose it quite often, leading me to dish out very good DPS. At this point in the run, I feel very comfortable with the Kunai. 25 minutes later, this beast sings her last song. Our next foe is quite fearsome, Barioth. This kitty doesn't give me an easy time. Its weak point is its head and tusks at about 5 damage a hit. However, this cat does not give me many opportunities to chuck iron at his face. I had to keep up with all of his jumps and dodge his ice beams. It wasn't easy getting good damage on him. Any moment he was drooling and exhausted was a godsend. When he went for snackies, that was a good opportunity to try to break his wing for a free stagger or trip. Speaking of a free trip, the tusk break got me just that, which was great. I actually managed to cut the tail, which makes this fight significantly easier, because it nerfs the kitty's range with all its moves. Whenever there's a battle between the monsters, I ignore it and do something like carve this tail. Usually though, I stay long range and throw kunais till it's safe to go closer. Finally, it dies at 34 minutes and 18 seconds. Nearing the end here, our next fight is Arzuros. I actually ended up loving this fight. This hunk of rock is so damn slow. It's perfect for wailing him with deadly knives of steel. At first it seems like the knives don't do that much damage to him, hitting at about a max of 4 on its stomach, but more commonly for 2 to 3. However, when it's got some lava in him, it bumps up to 5, and it's fantastic hitting that high on this slow-ass rock. So satisfying. I will say Rathian comes in for a bit of an assist, but I couldn't do anything about that. Thanks for the poison damage, though! Anytime he would start farting was a good opportunity for me to chuck spears from a safe distance. And just like that, we crumble Mount Everest at a nice time of 2020. Pog. And now onto our final battle. The Magnamalo. This is by far the hardest, most insane battle of this entire run. I have to fight tooth and nail if I want to beat this guy. Now, if you haven't fought this Magnamalo before, let me tell you, he is no joke. They somehow put a jet engine inside this dog, bro. It's fucked up. He got purple energy and shit. Every time I think I tripped him for some free damage, he fakes it and just gets back up. Pisses me off, dude. When he doesn't have any purple kush on his face, the most damage I can do is 4. I get absolutely tossed by this guy. He is literally an airplane. My opportunities for DPS are few and far between because this guy just does not let up. He also goes to fetch his toy very frequently, so I'm constantly chasing him around the map. Rathian showing up gave me a good opportunity to do some damage, thankfully. 25 minutes into the fight, I got my first trip. I seized the opportunity. Nearly 35 minutes into the fight, I got my first break. This is not a good sign, dude. Shortly after, something awful happens. My death. Not good. I rush back with the strength of 1,000 lions for round 2. An issue I haven't talked about yet with the kunais is that being on sloped ground means you usually miss your kunai if you fire them, which is very frustrating. He's extremely arranged now, which is terrifying. At the 40-minute mark, I cut his tail. That's great, but time is ticking. We only have 10 minutes left. I do 5 damage to his head when he has his stuff on, which is good. I quickly realized, just like Gormagala, bonk its head when it's in the state and he phases out of it and you get some free damage. This is exactly what I needed. This next portion of this battle is an intricate dance of dodging while trying to do as much DPS as humanly possible with these kunai. I was fighting for my life here. The 5-minute warning hits. I'm getting nervous. 45 minutes sunk into this fight already and he's not dead. Then the unthinkable happens. The second cart. Less than 2 minutes remain. No Palamute or camps unlocked to fast travel to. I had to speed to get a third wire bug and fly like my life depends on it. Go flyann, go! I noticed something on the mini-map that's crucial. Magnamalo was capturable. I don't know how much time I have left at this point, but I know I have to go for a Hail Mary. My heart is pumping. I lay down the trap, but he hits me. Thankfully, to how fast pitfalls go down in this game, he actually canceled the animation for me as the trap sets itself down. He falls in, and I lay down my tranks. And he's caught. Let's go! Holy shit! Holy fuck. We had 16 seconds left. 16 seconds left. I was so close to losing, but I did it. Moments like these really make me appreciate this game series and my love for it. The feeling of relief capturing him was insane. And the credits roll.
We did it!
So this answers our question. Yes, it is possible to beat Monster Hunter Rise with only Kunai. And God, was it a challenge. 13 hours of playtime, and we get there. I plan to try this in the Gathering Hub high rank quest as well. There are things to explore, like the explosive kunai, which seems to be a quest-only item you can grab from gray seeds. I could not find these seeds in my playthrough, so I could not utilize them in this run, but I was fine with using the base kunais. I've yet to explore all the other armor in this game, and charms and gems, to see whether or not there are more kunai-enhancing abilities. If you'd like to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe to let me know, or catch these challenges live on Twitch on my channel. Monster Hunter Rise is a fantastic game, and I'm excited to do more with it. Until next time, see ya.